Alright guys, so I was originally gonna just make this video just the healing build, but I'm going to just label it Bulwark and also healing build, and I'm gonna kinda just run down basically both builds that I've been building, and they work perfectly with one another, so yeah. Bulwark is pretty simplistic. I'm mostly building these for speedruns and PvE. This is not for PvP. Again, guys, I don't really care for PvP that much. This is really just educational in the sense that if you wanted to PvP, you could with these builds, and you would just vary the build slightly to fit a more PvP aesthetic. So starting off, the gear, as you can see, I don't have a full set. I still don't have a full set for the healing build either. But essentially, we have all stamina. We're going to be using self-propelled shield as a 4-piece, mostly just because I like the movement speed. A lot of you are going to end up wanting Fearless Warrior over the Self-Propelled Shield because Fearless Warrior actually gives you a little bit better bonuses in terms of being a tank in this game. But it also works the same with Medic. And again, we're going to show you the build also of the Medic build version after this. For the 2-piece, I'm kind of just right now filling the slot with a really good rolled piece of gear just to kind of boost my toughness. But for a really good 2-piece, there's a lot of different combinations that you guys can use that again work vice versa for the healer and also for the bulwark. Two of my favorites though are going to be healing elites for the actual toughness bulwark is really nice simply because the received healing is going to be increased, so therefore your healers, let's say your healers aren't really that good, or maybe they just are more DPS healing, you'll still receive a huge bonus of healing even if they don't have super good heals, which is always nice, especially when you're trying to do some speed runs. Another really good 2-piece that a lot of you could use, long-term effect, is actually really good because it gives you skill health, which would be basically just your shield. And lastly, we also have Fire Cycle. Fire Cycle 2-piece does work super well with both of them, but it's going to benefit Bulwark just a little bit more, only because as a healer, you really don't need that much criticals. Your critical damages are essentially just going to be boosting your crit heals, which is nice, but if you're using the same build that I'm going to be showing you guys, you're pretty much going to be ticking per heal for about 13,000 or more. Most players aren't even going to need that, if I'm being honest. Most people only need about 8,000 per tick. But again, it just depends on the build and it depends on what activities you're running. In PvP, you want the highest that you can possibly get. You don't want your DPS or your other supports dying at all. So, yeah, you want the best that you could possibly give. Now, for the actual build on the Bulwark, the weapon that I'm using currently on the Bulwark, basically just, it gives me more damage, just a little bit more damage, so that way I can actually, somewhat contribute to the team when we're doing speedruns and or when we're trying to kill people. And then I also have Precise Support. So even though I'm not an actual healer, I still am a tank, which is technically a support. So for those of you wondering, oh, only the healer should be healing and stuff like that, it's not really true. As a tank, you are taking aggro, and you are pretty much the brunt, you're the wall, essentially, of the team. But you're still essentially not doing more damage than, per se the literal DPS that's supposed to be doing all of the damage. So yeah, it's nice to have this weapon. I use this weapon for both my healer and also my bulwark, and it works really well. As for your secondary weapon, you are always going to want something that buffs the team or gives the team some sort of advantage. In this case, Precise Crit. It's only one. It could be a better gun, to be honest with you. I could have two on both of these. That would be a god roll, but it's fine. As long as you have Precise Crit, this is one of the most important things in the team, especially if you guys want to do speedruns. Medical accuracy is also really good. Again, I use this weapon on both my healer and my tank, simply just because Precise Crit. But if you're on the healer, you also get medical accuracy. The OS protocol, if anybody in here doesn't already know what Blitz Tactics is, it literally just makes you unkillable. You're basically just unkillable. Mine's nowhere near maxed out, and I'm still just unkillable. Now for the actual chipsets, the firmwares and softwares. Um, you don't have to run this, but I just run this because this quite literally is one of the better versions of the builds. But I like to have a lot of damage at the same time of having the availability to support the team in the best way that I can. So we're running Provocateur, so that way we can actually grab the aggro of all of the enemies when we're in legendary missions and stuff like that. It draws the fire away from the DPS so that they can just sit there and constantly shoot, which is really nice, especially when you want to go for speed runs, man. Every second counts. So I'm currently working on changing this over, but we are going to be using Reciprocal Charge. If you don't know what it is, again, guys, just read it, but I'm just showing you basically what the build is and what it's made up of. And then we are also going to be using Berserker. This is going to add some damage and, also give you a little bit more of that damaging edge, so that way the speedruns will go a little bit more smooth. that is pretty much it though for the actual like bulwark side of things. For those of you though that want to be pure support, things like precise crit and also even slaughter healing is also really good to have. Now for the medic build. So again, I really don't have to explain too much about this. Realistically, the only difference is going to be the actual chips that you're going to be using. And the OS protocol is going to be different also in the sense that there's more options. But yeah, so for the two pieces that you want to run specifically with the healing build, a really good one is actually, again, like I said, Fire Cycle is a really good one because of the critical damage, which is basically going to this is going to boost your base criticals and just basically like heal more every time that you crit. Another really good piece that you guys could use for the two set piece is Boom Shakalaka for the skill cooldown recovery. This basically just makes it so that you're able to utilize your heals more often, therefore keeping your team alive longer, and, you know, yeah. This is probably the best in slot, Dr. Medic. The reason I say this is not only because the 2-piece gives you healing intensity, but because it can be mix-matched with multiple other different kinds of builds. So let's say you don't actually want to use something that is super tanky, right? You don't want to be a tanky healer. What you can do, and a lot of you might not agree with this, but it is an option. You can actually use Jackpot as a healing alternative. If you roll every one of these as toughness, so this one obviously is rolled for engineering, but if I got one that rolled for toughness, this is a really good alternative for healing because of the skill crit chance and the skill crit damage. Also, you get a huge radius, which is really nice for heals. For any of you that aren't healer, you wouldn't really understand, but your radius is increasing how far away you can heal your allies, so you don't have to worry as much in terms of running to them, or for instance, your ultimate doesn't pick up people in the dark zone as fast. This will increase the radius by 12%, therefore allowing you to have a wider area of recovery. Okay. Alright. Next we have the OS protocol. There's a couple different ones that you can use, but specifically if you're gonna be like an actual medic, there's different medics. Okay, you could go more on the toughness side of things, or you could be more of just a straight up healer. The one that I have now, Medical Excellence, is really good for just straight up healing. But if you're going for like PvP and stuff like that, you want more of the toughness route, because toughness is also going to give you better heals while also getting the healing intensity bonuses. So Caretaker is a very good one for that. It's a really easy one to grind. It's a blue. But again, Medical Excellence is probably the better option, especially if you're doing speedrunning and stuff like that. No one should be going down during a speedrun. And ideally, in the right conditions, this is the better one, simply because so long as everyone stays above 50% of their current health, you get extra healing equal to 5% max health. So every time that they get shot or whatever, 5% of your total health goes to them as healing, which is very nice. It's a very nice boost to your overall heals. As for solo healing and stuff like that, you guys could just use Blitz Tactics. As for the actual setup, we are going to be using the Beneficial Association, Buddy Treatment, and then Auto Trauma Treatment. All of these are going to increase your healing intensity. It's going to give you bonuses for healing intensity, which is really nice. This is what basically is going to boost your base heals regardless of everything else. And then the rolls on it, again, you kind of just want more skill, crit damage, and crit chance. You don't really need that much like radius or duration. Some of these are not very rolled. They're not rolled very well, but if you do get like armor, or even if you get like health rolls on them, that's really nice, because this will also boost your heals again. But those are the two builds that I've been working on, and yeah, I hope this helps.